frequency, 3715, give or take. Thursdays at 9 a.m., Sundays at 4 p.m., all in the same frequency. Old Friends Net is a great place to look for gear or sell gear or bits and pieces of stuff that you might need or want, and also a place to find information. And while we're primarily focused on vintage gear, everybody is welcome to participate as long as whatever rig they have can generate a nice AM signal. This net is an old-fashioned roundtable style of net. We'll take check-ins and get everybody in order, and we will carry on from there. For those wishing to participate on Tuesday, please give W4 MEC, your net controller station for today, W4MEC, a call and come now.
Good morning, Charlie. WA4LLR.
WB4ARK.
N4LQ.
WB4NKL.
WF2U.
KN4R.
Norway Charlie 4, Oscar November.
K4 VWD.
W4KR.
Okay, at the last station, W4EVRO, I had it double. I got Lee K4VWD, then Ray W4VRO, and the doubling station, who's that?
W4KR.
Got you, Stan. Anyone else? Okay, so far we got Dave WA4LLR, and this is the order of the net. Buddy WB4ARK, Steve N4LQ, Cliff WB4NKL, Mirror WF2U, George K4GDN, Brian KN4R, Stefan NC4ON, Lee K4VWD, Ray W4VRO, and Stan W4KR. Any further check-ins for round one? Okay, and to double check and just make sure who's in front of you and who's behind you, we got LLR, ARK, LQ, NKL, Stan, GDN, 4R, ON, VWD, VRO, and KR. So we'll carry on from here, and good morning, fellas. Let's say, I think it's, I don't know, clear out there, kind of foggy looking, about 34 degrees here. And last couple of days here. Today is my wife's birthday, so we got some festivities planned here, and hopefully going to our for dinner for our favorite German restaurant and only German restaurant in Hendersonville, and it's facing the future of being torn down. Because even though the state only wanted 1 foot of its parking lot, they decided they needed 75 feet in order to build this road through. So they're going to take his business, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. So we'll see. Let's see. So let's get started with WA4LLR and the group W4MEC.
All right, Charlie, fine business. W4MEC. And the old friends, WA4LLR. Good morning to everybody. Happy birthday to your wife. And have some good German cuisine for me. Boy, I like it. I've not had that in quite a while. I like to go to Freiburg's over in Johnson City. Used to go to the one there in Weaverville, in the little log cabin place. But I think the fellow that owned that went south to South America. And I don't know who has it now or even if it's open. And I think I've dined at the one in Hendersonville that you're talking about. And it was pretty good too. Let's see. Currently we got 32 degrees, partly cloudy and windy. Boy, it's been windy all yesterday evening and last night. Real strong wind. A lot of strong gusts and a sustained wind of about 20 miles an hour. So it's a chilly day. I think our high is supposed to be about 34 and our low tonight about 18. So I guess we're transitioning into winter, even though it doesn't happen until 21st of December astronomically. So, down to you, buddy. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Okay, Dave. Everybody's got a very good signal here in the Lake Wiley this morning. The weather here is clear with some very thin high clouds. Temperature this morning at 7:30 was 28, and yesterday was about the same, a little bit warmer yesterday. It's supposed to be really cold tomorrow morning in the low 20s. So we'll see how that turns out. I guess that wind is blowing the cold air this way. So with that, we'll turn it over to N4LQ, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK, N4LQ. Well, good morning. I don't think we've had any wind here for a while. You guys at the higher elevation must get all that wind, but here in the lowlands of Shelby, we don't seem to get much at all. But boy, when it does, we get pine needles all over the driveway. So anyway, happy birthday to your wife, Charlie. Today is Taco Tuesday, and so I am relegated to eating at Taco Bell today, as we do on every Tuesday, unfortunately. But we shall survive, I think. And there you go. Go ahead. I don't know why. I got Buddy's call written down here twice. How'd I do that? WF2U, go ahead, M4LQ.
Okay. I guess you wrote WB4 and got the ARK. It's WB4NKL. Good morning to everybody. Band sounds in pretty good shape today. Maybe signals are a little weaker. 32 degrees here, and it's supposed to warm up to a balmy 38. And that's about the same place where we were at yesterday. I think that was the high yesterday also, and of course about 20 in the morning. Happy birthday to your wife, Charlie. And I ate at the German restaurant yesterday, the one Dave was talking about in Johnson City, Freiburg's. First time we've been there in a while. It's still good, Dave. And brought back, they give you plenty to eat. I brought back a box of leftovers and probably have that again for lunch today. We used to eat at one, and this has been 40 years ago at Asheville on Tunnel Road. That little, back in the day they called it a mall, but there was a German restaurant in there, and I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was the first German restaurant I'd ever eat at. I wonder if it's still there. It's probably not. I hadn't been on that part of Tunnel Road in years. So I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Mayor. WF2U, WB4NKL.
Roger, WB4NKL. And the net, this is WF2U. Good morning, everybody. Signals are tremendous this morning. Almost everybody's S9 plus 20 and off. and the noise is about a 4 to 5. We started the morning when I got up at 6:30. It was 30 degrees according to my digital weather station here that I tried to check. And now it's 34 as the sun is rising. And it's still going to be in the 40s. Running the Elmac station, the AF-67 transmitter. According to the peak reading meter, it's about 60, 65 watts on peak. The carrier is about 35 or so, and the receiver is the Elmac PMR7, and at least it has the S meter. It has the factory S meter on the power supply, so that's where I'm getting the readings from. And that's the situation. It's going to be cold several days. Today I'm taking it easy. I finished clearing the last of the big logs from that big tree that fell a month or so ago, and I did the cleanup pretty slowly. So I deserve a little bit of rest. I'll play radios today, and I have a lot of projects that I have to fix or wire up. Anyway, so that's from this end. So George, you pick it up. K4GDN. This is, happy birthday to your ex-file, Charlie. And we ate several times throughout the years at the German restaurant in Andersonville. So, George, K4GDN. This is WFU.
You and the group, this is K4GDN, and I'm covering everybody fairly well. The band seems to be in good shape. Mirror was a little weak. There is some QSB. I'm on the Viking 2 this morning, receiving on the NC300 and using the InFed half-wave. It's in the mid-40s here. It was in the low 40s early this morning. It's overcast, and by the end of the week, they say we may have some rain, and they're even predicting we may get some freezing temperatures tomorrow or Thursday. So that's what it's like here in the sunny Myrtle Beach, or dirty Myrtle, really. It's more like it. And Charlie, congratulations to your wife on her birthday, and I hope you do get some good German food. That was one thing I really missed when I retired from BMW, was going over to Germany for the German food. I like that much better than I did when I used to have to go to France when I worked for Michelin. And the German people were much more friendly, I must say that. Anyway, like I say, everybody's coming in here fairly well this morning. And let's see, I'm passing on to you, Brian. KN4R in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George, K4GDN and Tuesday Old Friends. This is Brian. KN4R on the Globe Camp, not the Chinese military rig, and listening on the old black HRO. A lot of QSB and pretty much a lot of weak signals, unfortunately, here. I don't know what's going on, but it's about 39 degrees here, going to a high of 46, and supposedly around 19 as a low tonight. And the wind's just now beginning to pick up a little bit. So, but anyway, glad to be here, and hopefully conditions are okay for everybody else. So, over to you, Stefan, NC40N and the old friends. This is KN4R.
Yeah, Roger and Brian, KN4R in the group NC40N. Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Charlie, for doing the net this morning. I'm on my Apache lab this morning as the R radio, and everybody is coming in Good. I can hear everybody, so that's good. All right, Brian, I hear you fine with your radio. Of course, you're close here. Same temperature here, about 40 degrees right now. A little chilly, but happy to see that indeed the winter is coming. So, all right, not much more to report. I'll go to the next one. I think the next on the list is Lee, K4 VWD. Here it comes, NC4ON.
Okay, Stefan, thank you. This is K4VWD. Well, it's 36 degrees and it's kind of overcast here and a very light breeze, very, very light. But good morning so far. So Ray, here she comes, W4VRO, K4VWD.
K4VWD and the net. W4VRO. Very good, Lee, and good morning. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning to everyone on the net. The atmospheric noise is very low this morning. It's not moving the S meter. Most signals are Q5, and most signals are strong. It was 35 degrees this morning at first light. And I don't know what it is now. The low forecast for tonight and tomorrow night is 25, so the winter is trying to get started. I wanted to comment on Mir, on your signal, 35 watts carrier, and your S2 on the S meter. I said it was quiet here. The atmospheric noise level is just down. It's not even moving the meter at all. But your Q5 mirror sounding good. But a lot of signals are much stronger than that, and you're usually stronger than that. But the Elmac with 35 watts, I think we have to credit your antenna mostly. Charlie, very strong this morning, and Dave, good strong signal, sounding good in the windy part of your country. Buddy, good strong signal from Lake Wiley, and you too, Steve, and Cliff, a little bit weak, but you're sort of off the end of my antenna. So I'm copying you Q5, so that's no problem. George, you were Q5 when you checked in, but missed a little bit on your last transmission. Brian, you and Mir are exactly the same signal strength, Q5 on both of you. Lee, you're always Q5, so don't have to worry about that. And Stan, good morning to you. It's good to hear you. Running the Johnson 500 as usual to the inverted V antenna. And I got in here just a few minutes before, Charlie, you started calling the net. And it looks like the SWR is 1-to-1, and on voice peaks, the meter says 1,400 watts on a lot of voice peaks. So that's about right, and modulation looks pretty good. So doing all right here. Stan, over to you. W4KR, W4VRO.
All right, Ray. Wow. W4VRO. And the old friends, W4KR. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Copied everybody. George, GDN, when you called in, you were right at the noise level, but and then when you started to make your transmission, you were there, but then you came up pretty quick. You came up, and you're perfectly readable. Not real strong, but perfectly readable. And that was a little bit of QSB. Charlie, to your blushing bride, happy birthday, and many, many more. Enjoy the German restaurant. You know, Walhalla was formed by started by a group of German farmers who had originally emigrated to the U.S. from northern Germany. They were farmers, and they stayed down, and they emigrated to Charleston. And they stayed in Charleston for about 20 years, and they just never got used to the weather. So they came up here. They came up here and bought what is now the township, 24 square miles actually, and in the middle of that they launched the city of Walhalla, where the name came from. But here's the but. There is no other than looking at the history of the area. There seems to be no German heritage here, other than a Lutheran church that was formed in about 1850, and there is not a German restaurant in the area. I wish there was, because we had a couple of great ones up in Ann Arbor. That's the one thing we miss about that. Between that and family, it's one thing we miss down here. They don't have a good, in fact, any German restaurants. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Running the Ranger this morning. Ray's got the 500 on, and I'm running the Ranger, the other end of the Johnson system, I guess, and again the NC300. Temperature is 31, and it better warm up because it's a bit chilly. Heat up is staying with it, but it's a mite chilly. So Charlie, back to you. Since I'm the tail end here, back to you, and we'll be listening. W4MEC in the Old Friends Group, W4KR Walhalla.
Very good, Stan. W4KR and the Old Friends, W4MEC. Do we have any check-ins that would like to join us? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, good round. Everybody's booming in. George got a great signal up here today. Let's see. Steve, thanks for the December calendar for the Old Friends Net and who's running it. Got that copy and pasted into my Old Friends Net calendar menu, so which I have to pull up to remind myself where we are. Let's see. I sent a note out to the Old Friends on the IO chain there about, I just read this, I didn't want to send the whole story. Some folks get upset about the source, but anyway, the police said that if you've downloaded the new IO 17 upgrade for your smartphone, your iPhone, which I don't have, but they said that it has a new feature called Name Drop. And just two iPhones in proximity to each other will show the information of the person whose phone that you're near, and it's capable to be stored. So you're talking about kids with iPhones in a public arena where people can see who your grandkid is in this case, if you have grandkids with iPhones, but they can get names and pictures of the owner, so they're warning folks to turn that off for your kids at least. So that seemed rather important, and I don't know how old that information is, but it could be recent, it could be a month, I don't know, and you fellows already know about it. And the other thing that's not real clear is a fellow sent me a notice about from December 6th to December 9th, you will be able to communicate directly, apparently, to various government high-frequency radio stations on their frequencies. It doesn't seem to clearly state that they have to find you on the ham band, but you can contact them out of band on 3 different frequencies. So if some of you folks might read that and see if I'm incorrect, but that seems like a new change. I remember Armed Forces Day where you would call them NSS, WAR, those stations in the middle of the ham band or somewhere in the ham band, and they would tune around and find you. And I always thought that was weird because I actually did that on 40 meters as a novice, and I worked NSS. DEWN4MEC, I was sending that right in the middle of the Novice CW segment there, which used to be, what was it, 7150 to 7200. And I'm sure people that didn't know probably thought I was nuts, but, and then I worked them and had a short QSO and went 73, so. But now apparently they're going to let you on this particular date do it on their frequency. But that seems kind of odd. You would have thought they would have done it in 1921, but not 1923. So who knows? All right, so let's crank around at least one more time. WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, WA4LLR, 1923. I believe you need to add another millennium there. Oh, my goodness. Well, anyway, yeah, that sounds odd. I'll have to look that one up. Well, let's see. I neglected to mention that I'm running the Johnson Valiant this morning. A little over 100 watts and receiving on the S76. And the Johnsons are sounding good. The Elmacs are sounding good. Everybody's sounding good. The modern stuff even sounds good. But anyway, let's see here what's going on. Space weather, we've got 3 incoming coronal mass ejections due to hit between, they think, between the 30th and the 1st. So we'll see how that goes. Sunspot count's 159, solar flux index is 187, and the K index is 2. So the upper band should be pretty good. It was interesting yesterday. I was listening to the International DX Beacon group, and on 24 megahertz, I was listening to New Zealand and out in that area coming in on the beacon, and there was nobody on the band, which was really strange. But you never know. Sometimes a dead band is because nobody's talking. Some interesting items from this day in history. On this day in history, Magellan reached the Pacific in 1520. On this day in 1994, Jeffrey Dahmer was murdered in prison. On this day in 1925, the Grand Ole Opry began its broadcasting. Well, that used to be a Saturday night staple. On this day in 1582, William Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway. On this day in 1979, a New Zealand sightseeing flight crashed in Antarctica, killing 257 people. The problem was they had a low ceiling, dropped below 1,500 feet, and weren't supposed to get below 6,000, I believe, but they ran into the side of a mountain. This one's kind of interesting. On this day in 1895, the first car race was held in Chicago, sponsored by the Chicago the Chicago Times-Herald. And it was won by I'm assuming this is pronounced Duryea motor wagon, and it was a snowstorm going on at the time, so everybody was having problems. And it says that they had 89 entries, but only 8 of them, I think, made it even to the starting line. And there was the Duryea car, 3 Benz cars, 2 electric cars whose batteries died immediately after the race began. So it was an interesting race there in 1895. So that's a few things from this day in history. So we'll start back around again. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Well, everybody had a very good signal report that time, except Mirror's signal dropped down for some reason. Don't know what happened, but
your signal was not as strong as when you first called in here. Yeah, I want to wish Charlie's wife a very happy birthday and many more to come. I wonder if the restaurant is going to rebuild or relocate their position. It'll be interesting to note. The wind here is non-existent. I'm looking at the trees, the treetops off in the near distance, and there's not any movement at all. Very still out there, so we have yet to encounter any kind of high breezes or wind. So we will see how the day progresses. So it's peeking out a little bit stronger off the neighbor's garage door. Good bit stronger than it was 15 minutes ago. So I guess some of the high clouds are moving off. It's going to be a cold day as temperatures probably are going to stay where they are or begin to drop. We're using the KWS-1 again. This will be the last time for a while we'll use the KWS-1. We'll switch over to another unit. So let's see what else we got. I think that's about it. We don't have any projects going on right now. We've got everything taken care of. So we're just kind of sitting back and taking it easy. We got Butch's transmitter finished, and he's working on a 30L1, which he has finished installing a new transformer. That was a pretty good chore, but he's got that done, and so now he's going to finish up the RF section. It's a complete rebuild. So with that, I guess we'll turn it over to Steve. N4LQ, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK, N4LQ. Good all the way around, good copy. No problem understanding anybody's modulation. German food. Sorry, but that's not on my list. I don't think I've ever been to a German restaurant. I think there was one in Louisville. At least they talked about it, but I never went in the door. When I was in high school, it seems like once a week they would give us sauerkraut for lunch, and I absolutely hated that stuff. I would bring a bologna sandwich or eat crackers or something, but every time I think German, I think sauerkraut, and it just turns me off. Anyway, Volkswagens are okay. I had a couple of Beetles, and I liked them, and but I'm done with those. So much for German stuff. I did work K6 KPH a couple of times, and that's the coastal station out there in California, KPH, and I think once or maybe twice a year they do that, and they talk to hams. but it's a ham station, and it's pretty potent amount of power, I believe, but they are in the ham bands and they work hams, so I'm not really sure if that, I think they do use their antennas, their big antennas, and maybe that helps, but I don't know. They're trying to keep that station alive, and there's a website, and I think the last time they transmitted, gosh, it's been at least 10 or 12 years ago, last time they actually transmitted as a shore station, they called it the Night of Nights, and it was a big deal, and they had that Denise, what's her name, who was a CW operator. She sent out a message by CW lamenting their closing and so forth. But anyway, that's on the YouTube if you want to watch it. It's pretty cool. And she did a good job sending CW using the bug. Mir, I think your AF-67 sounds okay. I'm not sure about how you're reading the power. 35 watts is doing really good. If you got 500 volts on the plate and 100 mils, that's about 50 watts input. If you're getting 35 watts out, that's a bit more than usual. I get about 29 or 30 out of this one on a good day. The peak power usually is up over 140. I get a little higher than 100% modulation. So four times your power, 30. If it's really 35 watts, 4 times that is about 140 peak envelope power. So I'm not sure. You said something about 65 watts peak. I'm not sure if that's like average power or what kind of meter that is. Must be average peak or something. Anyhow, that's what we got this morning, and this time it really is going to oh, there went the amplifier. Anyway, finally killed it. Over to Cliff, N4 or WB4NKL, N4LQ.
Our N4LQ is WB4NKL. Steve, before you went out, you could hear a little arcing or some kind of noise on your modulation. So I was thinking when I was hearing that you had something breaking down there, and then it dropped out. But somebody else might comment on that too. I seen something on the internet yesterday I wasn't familiar with, and it's good to know. You know, you pick up these cantanas, heat kit cantanas, and you wonder if they've got PCB oil in them or not. And this source said that if you wanted to test it, the mineral oil, if you put it on water, it'll sort of float on top, and the PCB, put that in water and it'll sink. So it's good to know if you pick up a cantana and you're worried about whether it's got PCBs in it or not, or if you got capacitors it's breaking down, and you wonder if the oil is harmful or just mineral oil. That's a test there. So send it on around. Go ahead, Mir, WF2U, WB4NKL.
Yeah, Roger, WB4NKL, and the net, this is WF2U. Okay, let's see, Steve, regarding the power. Okay, it might have been a little parallax because now I'm level with the SWR and power meter. That's on a DMFJ 962, and it's fairly accurate because I would say plus minus 5 watts because I run sometimes in one of the solid state transceivers, and it coincides with the power setting more or less. So it's reading, if I'm looking at it straight, it's a little bit over 30. Carrier. Okay, and it's definitely reading 65 at peak. So it could be that the peak reading, time constant or something is not correct. But when I run it on site, then it also coincides, let's say, with the 7300, with the 7300 output reading. So that's what it is. So I'm not just inventing it. Anyway, that's the story. Oh yeah, you're talking. Steve's still doing the Night of Nights once a year, where KPH is sending bulletins over the marine frequencies, the original marine frequencies, and then they have the regular ham station also, and then you can send reports of reception on the marine band of their bulletins, and then they are available for ham contacts as well after that. So yeah, it's still very active, and I know the main operator there. Actually visited my shack at one time. Denise Stoops is retired. She worked for a while in the strategic sea transport or something like that. Those ships that contract with the Department of Defense. And since she has another endorsement, she didn't necessarily work on CW. But she did like the regular, whatever radio and communications officer does nowadays. But she's completely retired. Anyway, that's what I know because I get the bulletins from KPH. I'm surprised. I'm getting the bulletins. Because I'm one of the subscribers, and it's just interesting to read. Sometimes they write a little bit about equipment and operations and their special events. So, by the way, the antenna is the 80-meter end-fed half wave, about 45 feet. So back goes to George. George was pretty weak, barely riding over the noise level, so I got about 80% of the transmission previously. K4GDN, this is WFTU.
WFTU, the group's K4GDN. And you're probably the weakest signal I'm getting here. You're getting in the mid S5 or 4.5 on the NC300. I copied 95% of it. There is some QSB in there. And then it seems to affect different people differently. Anyway, be that as it may, things are coming in fairly well here in Myrtle Beach. And, Buddy, if you're still listening, I thought that was really interesting that Tom, WA4FJQ, was running a 30L1 in the AM. And I thought I heard him say he was getting around 400 watts carrier. That seems a bit stiff to me. Although with my homebrew 811 linear, which is only two 811s, I can get 125 watts and without any problems. But my voltage is a little bit lower. I don't think my voltage is much over 1500 on them. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Another thing, you were asking about idling current on it, and I saw an article where somebody was putting, I think it was 1N4007s in series forward bias, maybe 6 or 7 of them, and putting that into that keying circuit, and what that did, that increased the bias enough to bring the idling current down to around, I think, 70 mils, which is considerably less than what it normally is. Normally it's up around 200. And that certainly looked like to me, the best arrangement for bringing that idling current down rather than changing resistors and stuff in that bias supply. They already have made a bunch of changes there anyway, and they've had some issues with it. But I thought that was pretty good, and it is interesting that he was using it on AM. I'm going to definitely give that a try. I know when I use my multi-Elmac or the Ranger to drive the homebrew 811s, I've got a 6 dB homebrew attenuator I stick in between them, and I put less than 10 watts in when I do that, and I have had no problems with it so far. Anyway, we're still working on the BMW 5100B. That's a strange animal. It really is. It's one of the few transmitters that I've seen arranged that way. But anyhow, we'll see how it goes. And it is heavy. Turns out it's a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier than the Valiant. That's kind of an issue for me at this point. So with that, let's see. It goes to Brian. KN4R in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George, very good. K4GDN in the group, KN4R. Okay, everybody's coming through fine now. I had a problem with my coax jumper going to my receiver, so I've been troubleshooting, tried another receiver, and signals came way up. So anyway, so it was a problem at my end, but very good. There's a great German restaurant in Hickory called the Old German Schnitzel House, and it's really good. And Steve, that sauerkraut is really good for you. My brother buys canned sauerkraut and eats it like 3 times a week. And and let's see, talking about KPH, last night the Antique Wireless Association, they were celebrating the 100th anniversary of the transatlantic test, and I heard a couple of stations on CW on 160 and also on 80 signing TAT 100, and so I worked them, and anyway, it was a lot of fun. So let's see, what else? Oh, Charlie, happy birthday to your wife. Hope y'all have fun, and send us a picture of that German meal tonight before you consume it. And today's going to be wind is picking up here, buddy, so my guess is your wind will pick up here shortly. I'm going to work on some radio projects here. Maybe I'll do a honeydew or two before, and then sneak back up here and see if I can move a couple of projects forward. So let's keep it moving. Mr. Stefan, NC4ON in the group, KN4R.
Yeah, Roger, Brian, KN4R in the group NC4ON. All right, excellent. I copy you. Beautiful, Brian, no problem. Also, Steve's radio sounds good. But I did notice a little issue there with the audio. I'm sure you'll figure it out what it was. Okay, very good. I will make this my last one. Charlie got a couple of phone calls to make, but I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. Also, happy birthday to your wife, and thank you for doing the net this morning. So 73s to all of you, and we're looking forward maybe talking on Thursday. So back to Lee there. K4VWD, NC4ON 73s, guys. Take care.
Okay, Stefan, 73, God bless. This is K4VWD. Well, I want to thank Steve also for sending us the schedule for December. Thank you very much, Steve. And when I got up this morning, it was about 30 here, and the temperature's been rising. So it's up to 39 here now. And let's see, the Maritime Station in California, I worked at a good many years ago before I moved here to Greenville, and that lady was operating CW, and I worked her and got a card from her. and she's very good on that CW, because she slowed down to my speed when I was working her, and it was a good contact. So, but boy, that's been a while back. And Charlie, thank you for doing the net. You're doing a great job. So, excuse me. Down to you, Ray. W4VRO, K4VWD.
K4VWD in the net, W4VRO. Very good, Lee. Lee, I think you usually call the net on Thursdays. As far as I know now, I'll check in and look forward to talking with you then. All signals are a little bit weaker now as the sun influences propagation, but still good. And Charlie, I hope you and your wife have a wonderful celebration and enjoy the food. That's sad that a restaurant has to go out of business because of what the road builders want to do. Sad to see any business go out of business, but especially to be forced out for a reason like that. I hope he can reestablish his business there somewhere. It would be good if he could. Mir, you're still S2, peaking S2 and still Q5. So you're doing all right. With that power and your antenna, you're doing good. And Stan, the Ranger sounds great. And on your last transmission, Stan, you were the strongest signal. S9 and several other signals were almost as strong, but the little Ranger was the strongest signal I was hearing on the list that time. So I know you have a great antenna, and that does always make a difference. Very interesting comment, Steve, about a little history of Walhalla. It's an interesting part of South Carolina and an interesting town. I think you're living in a good place there. Charlie, thanks for calling the net. 73s to all, and hope to hear you again soon. W4KR in the group, W4VRO.
Okay, Ray, W4VRO, W4KR. Well, thank you, Ray. Thanks for the signal report, Ray. So let's see, what does it say? We are putting out 45 watts carrier is what it's doing this morning. And modulation's peaking up up to about 150 mils, so that's about right. Could push it a little more, but I don't have my laptop that I keep, the old laptop I use to be the video monitor for the modulation monitor. I keep forgetting to bring the power supply for it down here, and the battery finally went dead. So I tried to turn the laptop on, and it wouldn't come on this morning. So I gotta bring the power supply down from upstairs. Let's see what else. Steve, a couple of things. Sauerkraut versus grits. Okay. Here's where I lose Southern popularity. If given the choice, I would lean toward the sauerkraut. You grow up with the stuff. It's like grits, I guess. You grow up with it, and that's what you're used to. That's what you like. Steve, point 2. Cliff mentioned something beginning to happen during your transmission before the amplifier dropped, and I heard the same thing. Something after it's on, and it's behaving through the same way it was when we were on yesterday afternoon. When it after it's on for a little bit, something's heating up, and then breaking down. So I don't know. Power supply filter, power supply choke, I don't know. But something like that, because it sputters. It starts sputtering a little bit, and all of a sudden, down goes the signal. You can tell when the amplifier drops out. With that, I'm going to say good morning, everybody. 7-3, Charlie, again, have a great dinner tonight. Hope your bride has a wonderful day. Cherish those times, Charlie. Cherish those times, my friend. With that, 7-3, everybody, we'll see you Thursday morning. And if you're on the air this evening about 7 o'clock here on 80 meters, come on up to 3885 and check into the Southeast AM Radio Club net. 7 o'clock is the net starting time on 8 o'clock. Pretty soon we're going to be moving back an hour, moving back to 6 Eastern time, but not quite yet. 7-3s, and take care. Back to you, Charlie. And again, good morning, everybody. Take care. W4MEC, this is W4KR.
Okay, Stan, very good. W4KR in the group, W4MEC. All right, we can do a 73 around here and then shut her down. Couple comments. Yes, Steve, the audio seemed to hiccup there, and I think part of a word or maybe a whole word completely dropped out, but your carrier didn't. And you came back weak, and then you popped in strong again, so something's intermittent for sure. I quickly looked up PCBs, and I found a report, a government report, that went back and analyzed PCBs and said there's really some contradictory information about it causing melanoma and Hodgkin's lymphoma. So they came to the conclusion that basically all of the concerns that were initially put out about PCBs look like they're actually wrong. And if you remember, what was it, saccharin, the very first sweeteners, they said the same thing. And of course, they fed that's all rats ate, or mice ate, was saccharin, and they got cancer and died. So I think maybe they've changed their methods or something, but they actually said that, I don't want to say inconclusive, but let's just say that there's some evidence that PCBs are not harmful. So one of those deals. And when we go to the German restaurant, we always get their sampler, which is one of everything, and I can't remember the 4 meats that are in there, but they have there's a sauerkraut, the fried potatoes, Spätzle. We usually don't get the Spätzle. We swap fried potatoes for Spätzle, or roasted potatoes, I'm sorry. And the cabbage here, I can't remember, the red cabbage. Anyway, and it's a pretty good meal. And when you run the prices around for 2, and it's actually cheaper than buying 2 entrees. And of course, the strudel comes on a dinner plate. It's a huge strudel with ice cream, or if you want the Black Forest cake, it's a pretty good sized piece too. So it's a great way to end up there with that. So that's the story on the German restaurant. Yes, it is sad, and a lady that we had befriended there that moved here from Charlotte, she was living in Charlotte and working as the manager, and she was in the process of buying the restaurant and from the owner, and now she doesn't know what she's going to do because they're going to tear the restaurant down. And apparently they do get enough money to restart, but you're talking about, I don't know, now they got to relocate. You really don't want to go too far because you lose your business. So he really doesn't know what to do yet. So he's got maybe a year to figure it out. So another good German place is in Black Mountain on Cherry Street. Not Cherry Street, no, I think there's one over there next to Tyson's, the furniture store, and that's a real good one too. So anyway, we'll do the 73 round, and we'll set her down. I think, let's see, Stefan left, Stan left, and I'm not sure if Buddy's there. I forgot to pay a lot of attention until the very end of who was leaving. WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
All right, Charlie. W4MEC in the group, WA4LLR 7-3 to everybody. And you're making me hungry with that rundown on the sampler, or and I'm like you on the Spätzle. We traded off too. But boy, the rest of it sure sounds good. And when I was growing up, in fact, up until probably I was middle-aged, I didn't like sauerkraut either, Steve. But Well, no, it was earlier than that because I got to liking it when I was in Germany. But I really like it now. Reuben sandwich is a wonderful thing. Brian, thanks for the heads up about the old German schnitzel house in Hickory. And Charlie didn't know about the one in Black Mountain. That's good. That's a good thing to know. One thing I was going to comment on, you were talking about that waiver to allow contact with government stations. But I don't think it doesn't allow out-of-band transmissions. I was reading through it, and this is what it says. This waiver is conditioned on participating amateur stations monitoring 3 identified federal frequencies, 14375, 181625, and 21856, responding on spectrum allocated to the amateur service. So evidently it's the same thing that you did back when you were a novice. So nope, still can't transmit out of band. Everybody have a great day. 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, we'll catch up with you on Thursday. I believe Buddy's still there. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK, I'm still here. And George, K4GDN, George. The output that the fellow was talking about, I think his name was Tom. And he was talking about 400 watts, like you said. That's pretty high. I had to increase my frequency. It had dropped down a little bit for some reason. Anyway, I'm only getting a little over 100 watts on the KWS-1 output, probably about 150 maybe, 130. And I'm running 275 mils. So, and my MA meter is very accurate. I've checked the shunts, and it's right on the nose. So I don't, and I've also noticed on other transmitters running that amount of mils on the final that you don't get 400 watts out. So I'm not sure how he is measuring his output power. The plate voltage is 2,000 volts. Right at 2,000 volts, looks like. And so I wonder what type of instrument he's using to check his output power. It would be interesting. I'm going to run some tests on my 30L1 maybe this afternoon and check it for output power versus input power and see what and MA on the final amplifier, what it gives me, and we'll see what comes up. So with that, I'll say 73, and I wonder if did Mir sign, or so if Mir is not there, I guess it will go to George. So either Mir or George pick it up. So I'll turn it to Mir. WF.
It goes to me.
guess it will be N4LQ. This is WB4ARK.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. It's N4LQ running 26 watts. Yeah. That's about all you can get out of these things. 25, 26 watts RMS, carrier power, and showing about 104% modulation, and let's see, on peaks, let's see, there we go. Peak reading is about 107 watts. So I'm starting out with 25 and peaking out at 107. And the reason it's so high is because I'm using a real peak reading meter. And I think that's the key to it. If you want to get your PEP power, you're going to have a peak reading meter, and a lot of these things that people use are not doing that well. Like my antenna tuner, it's got a meter in it, and it only shows about 30 watts or so peak. So it just doesn't follow the modulation. You got to have some kind of a device like an amplifier made especially for that in your meter, or some of the cheap ones will use a capacitor to charge up and kind of give you a peak reading, although that's subject to error. Anyway, concerning dummy loads, buying used dummy loads, I have been burned 3 times on dummy loads at Hamfest, and you get them home and they do not read 50 ohms. I mean, just take an ohm meter with you to the Hamfest and measure the thing before you buy it, because they're liable to come out 75. The last one I bought turned out to be 100 ohms. And after a couple of decades of being soaked in oil, the resistor will often become way off value, and you end up with a undesirable SWR. It's kind of hard to trust. So that, and take a portable battery-powered amplifier if you're going to buy a D104 in a Hamfest, because about 50 to 75% of those are bad, and the seller will either tell you he doesn't know if it's any good or not, or he'll tell you that it is good, but whatever, you will find out when you get home if you don't check it first. And I will listen to the live stream later and listen to that noise, because it blew both fuses. One fuse, if it survives, one fuse will power the fan and the lights and the low voltage, and the other fuse takes care of the high voltage and the relays and all that. But both of them blow instantaneously, really quick. So, and I don't hear anything. It just suddenly, just like I turned the power switch off, nice and calm, and no arcing or buzzing or smoke or anything. It just blows them, just like a crowbar went across them. So 73s to everybody, and we'll try to get this thing figured out. It's not going to be easy because it's intermittent. It's hard to sneak up on troubles like that. WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ, it's WB4NKL. Good luck on that, Steve. I'm like you. It's not a fun trouble to chase down intermittent, and you're messing with high voltage, and it's just not something that's fun to work on. Charlie, talking about the PCBs, I've always wondered about, you know, the scare that they had on that. Some of the other stuff they come out with, and talk about how dangerous it is, but most of that stuff, if it's handled correctly, it's not going to be a problem. I remember years ago, some of the old linemen around here, you know, those pole pigs had taps down in there. You could down in the oil, you could reach down and change. I've seen them reach in that stuff barehanded and change the taps and swing, pull her hand out and wipe it off, swing the oil out. So, and they lived. I know a couple of those guys, and I don't think PCB got them. I'll say 73s, and thanks for calling it. And we'll try to catch everybody Thursday. Go ahead, Mir, WF2Us, WB4NKL.
Roger, WB4NKL. And the net, this is WF2U. Okay, very good all around. And thanks, Charlie, for running the net. Just check something. Oh, yes. Okay. Hello. Okay. Just check that I have full modulation according to the operating manual. Perfect. Half of the current of the plate current, so it should be okay. Yeah. Well, talking about the peak reading meters. What they call peak reading meter in these SWR meters, like the MSJ stuff, it's really just like a time constant, and just I guess to store a little bit of the, at least part of the peak, depending again of the time constant, and holding it for a while so the meter would at least show something besides just like a steady state, like in CW or just a carrier. So I'm not saying it's accurate, but it's within the ballpark. And according to the plate current, about 30-35 watt is actually reasonable with the amplifier, and it makes at least 80% efficiency. So that makes absolute sense.
You can get these bargains.
That's about it. So I'm just going to do a little work here. I have to clip a couple of diodes in an Icon marine transceiver, so it will go in the hand band. Because it only covers the marine band, and cutting two diodes will make it general coverage. It's sort of like what you do with a hand band only transceiver, as you open up to Morse frequencies, in other words, general coverage. So that's one of the things that I'll be doing today. And otherwise just hang out. So thanks again, and have a good meal at, I think it's called House Hideout now. Up in Edwardsville, and it's too bad that they have to close it actually. I hope they decide to keep running it in a different place. Even a little bit outside town, or a cheaper place. Real estate wise. But that would be over a lot. Actually, landfill would could use one of those. But it's definitely cheaper than in Wilmington. So anyway, everybody take care. seal and take care of the mistake to the end of the night.
That mirror, but you are hitting a bit weak, and there's still some QSB in there. And buddy, if you're still listening, keep me informed about what you're doing with your 30L1. I'll keep you informed on mine. I've got an adapter for that output connector coming, so I could use it with regular coax. I just didn't want to try to go out with much power when I've got an adapter that goes from N to B and C. That's just not enough. And I'm a little surprised that they use photo connectors for their input. I mean, if you're going to put 75 or 100 watts into that thing on an RCA phono plug, that seems a little weird to me. Anyhow, be that as it may be. And Charlie, thanks for calling the net, and I hope you have a good dinner this evening, and look forward to hopefully being in here on Friday. I'm assuming that Brian is still in there. If not, I think Stefan did sign out, so we'll go to Lee, but I'll turn it to Brian. And Charlie, thanks for calling the net. KN4R in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George, very good. K4GDN in the group, KN4R. Yep, still here. Enjoying the signals, and everybody's signals holding up okay here. So I hope everybody has a great day today. And Charlie, thanks for calling the net. Have fun tonight. And I'm looking forward to being around the shack a little bit here today, work on a few projects. So 73s to all, and everybody have a great day. Take it away, Stefan, if you're still here. NC4ON in the group, KN4R.
I can pick it up, Lee. Goes to you.
Okay, Charlie, thank you. This is K4VWD. Well, Thursday, Dave talked about magnetic storms. I hope we don't have that during the net Thursday morning. And it's the last day of the month. And so our luncheon will be 1 week from Thursday on the 7th. Thanks again, Charlie, for doing the net. I'll say 7-3. God bless everybody. So back down to you, Ray. W4VRO in the group, K4VWD. He must be gone, Charlie.
Yeah, let me double check. Ray, you still with us? W4VRO. Okay, he took off, so thanks for everybody for checking in today. And Dave, thanks for clarifying that notice there. I didn't really read it. I just cursory glanced, so you found the paragraph that said stay in band, so real good for that. And I don't think it can get much cheaper there, Mir, than what he's got since he owns the building. So new construction costs or going and renting someplace is just going to drive the prices up. So again, we'll look for you fellas on Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. And you have a good rest of your day here. And thanks everybody for checking in and joining us. So bye-bye for now. W4MEC.